Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since I've made a video. I just have not had the ability to, but I wanted to go ahead and make one today, and I wanted to talk about the epic quests. I have seen a lot of times where newer players will be wondering, which epic quest should I be working on? And I did do another video talking about what characters to level up, but I just wanted to go over these. Now, I'm gonna do my best to go over which characters are worth building out of the epic quests. Um, it's a very nuanced question to say which is the best one. So I'm gonna do my best to give you the information you need to consider when starting one. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump on in. I'm going to start from the oldest to newest. So that means we'll start with Doctor Strange. Now, I really don't recommend this one off the bat because of the characters available. Doctor Strange is, not a bad character, and Ancient One is not a bad standalone, also support. But everyone else is kind of bad. So now, Mordo and Wong do have potential. They do have future appearances coming up in the MCU, so they could potentially get uniforms, and they could get reworked into being amazing characters, as well as Strange. He definitely has Multiverse of Madness coming up. He's slated for Spider-Man, but I don't know if it's going to be a cameo or if he'll be popping up off and on like Iron Man did in the first one. But at any rate, um, everybody else, I don't really feel like if you are new and if you are trying to get the strongest characters built up first, I can't recommend this one because I think that it's going to be more of a resource dump than it's worth. And when I say resource dump, we're talking about Chaos Norn Stones, we're talking about Black Antimatter. With the mutant ones, we're talking about the Mcron crystals, Mcron shards, and Phoenix feathers. And actually, they're going to need the Black Antimatter and Chaos Norn Stones too. But I can't recommend this one first because there's really only two at all decent characters worth building. You also do have Satana and Clea. Clea is a semi-premium, meaning she's not in the Bioselector. Actually, Satana's not either. They're not in the Bioselectors, but they are farmable from here for free. And then there is Hellstorm. All of these characters really, I think, are Shadowlanders at best, and even that is stretching it. I recently have been able to use them in Shadowland, but only because I've gotten a big upgrade to my cards. I went from 2% Pierce to 6% Pierce in a day. So now I can use them, but for a long time I couldn't. So if you're newer, if your cards are not that well built yet, I cannot in good conscience suggest that you start to try to build those characters. So unless you are building Doctor Strange because you love Doctor Strange or any of the other characters, this one, I'm not going to say pass or skip. I'm going to say I wouldn't make it my first one. Next up is the X-Men. Now, if you're like me, I grew up in the 90s. I watched the 90s cartoon. So, like this one that Wolverine has is my very first introduction to the character. Although when I was a kid, it was actually, you know, yellow, black, and blue. But that's besides the point. Um, so this one, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters with that are available. 6 of them have a tier 3. I'm expecting Beast to get something soon. I'm really hoping for like an original X-Men update. Cyclops, Beast, Iceman, Angel, and Jean. They're the original 5. And of them, Jean is the only one that's good. And even she is starting to fall off. but she had a long time in the meta, and I'm okay if she does not get another uniform. But one thing I do want you to take into consideration when doing this epic quest, Magneto is behind a crystal wall, 6,600 crystals. If you do not spend in this game and you do not get a Stark stash, that is a hefty price. And you cannot get Jean unless you build all of these characters to tier 2. So Jean is a little bit more expensive. I do think that she is good, but if you're brand new, I don't know if you want to do this. And additionally, all of the characters in here do need their uniforms, so that's an additional crystal cost. Wolverine, I'm sorry to say, is a bit underwhelming at this point. I do hope that he gets a rework in the future. Cyclops was impressive when he came out with the Phoenix 5 uniform, but he does not keep up. He's still a good lead in support. His leadership, I think, is a 35-35 on attack and defense, plus his passive is a 30% energy attack. So he's 35 for all, his leadership is all allies, but his passive is just for energy attack. So he can be up to a 65% boost on damage, but only for the right characters, and that's only with this Phoenix 5 uniform. Magneto is good with his newest uniform, the House of X. He has fallen off, though. He doesn't really keep up with a lot of the current end-game content. When I say end-game, of course, I'm not talking about the Avengers movie. I'm just talking about like some of the, content that's further along. GBR, World Boss Legend. You don't want to use him in DRX, except maybe as a leadership. He's just not, he doesn't keep up with that stuff. Storm, same thing. She is a good leadership for elemental types. As a standalone character, she's okay, but she cannot solo, World Boss Legend. She just can't do it. And again, you need her uniform. And now Rogue, if you have her newest uniform, if you have a CTP of Judgment, is an amazing character. Even without her newest uniform, this one is trash. It is complete trash. This one's still pretty good. The new one is better, but this is actually still pretty good. It made her a much, much more worthwhile character. But my point being, if you want to build any of these characters, XMen, I think, is a little bit more valuable because they do, of these 7 characters, 6 of them have a tier 3. We haven't had a mutant update in well, no, I'll take that back. It's been February. Hasn't been that long, but they like to do them every now and again, so we may have one in the pipeline coming soon. And that could give a few of these characters a facelift. So this epic quest has characters with probably the highest ceiling as far as being able to advance them, but they don't have the strongest characters, so do keep that in mind. X-Force. So this one, Deadpool on his own is not a bad character. He is actually really, really good for World Boss Ultimate. His all defense down can do a lot of damage, but that is using his Holiday Lady Deadpool uniform, and that is only available come Christmas time. So keep that in mind. Although the new one that he has with the little mafia looking suit, I haven't played it. I have heard that it's more geared towards PvP, but it can be fun and it does add something to the character. Now the other characters, unfortunately, so Phantom X and Domino are Shadowlanders right now. I do hope that they get a rework. Domino does have a uniform, but I never bought it. From what I can tell, it doesn't do enough for her. You do have Colossus as a semi-premium character. Colossus is actually very good as a support because if you have his Phoenix 5 uniform, he does reduce damage received. Cable Well, Cable is really a World Boss Ultimate, so you don't even build him from here. And Psylocke is a good character, but she does not have an advancement beyond tier 2 right now. So 6,600 crystals, you have to unlock all these characters to get Strife. I do think Strife will get a rework at some point and will be a very dangerous character in PvP. Even now, he can be pretty bad because he was one of the first characters to have a lot of fracture, which decreases your damage. And I believe he does have energy reflect as well. Um, Strife was a very scary character in PvP. And given the right circumstances, he still could be. I think one of the main things he's really missing is a heal. But as of right now, the only characters available through this epic quest that I think are worth building. So Colossus is definitely worth it, but you do need his Phoenix 5 uniform. Deadpool can be good. If you're newer, he does help to upgrade your account, but it is a bit of a long grind, and you are going to need his uniform as well. Everyone else, I would say, is not necessary for your account. Not until it's someone you want to build. Cable is actually a very good tier 3, but again, you need his uniform, and again, you don't actually need this epic quest to build him. We're already at 11 minutes and we have 3 left, so I'm going to do my best here. Fantastic Four. So, Human Torch is a great transcended character. You do want to have his newest uniform, but he is good. He is very good. Thing, once again, you do want to have his uniform, but he is a very good support type for all the Fantastic Four. So this actually will give you bios for Crystal and for She-Hulk, which they are both available for free. You don't have to get them here. I don't have a whole lot to say about them. They're not bad, but they're not great. Victorious is a really good lead for Doctor Doom, but unfortunately neither of them have an Awakening or Tier 3 available, so they can only go so far. And on top of that, the crystal walls on this one, you pay 6,600 to unlock Invisible Woman, who is mostly PvP, and then once you have all of these characters unlocked, you can get Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is also more PvP focused, and again, at this moment in time, he just can't go that far. He probably will get a uniform. A lot of us are thinking very soon. But as of right now, Mr. Fantastic is not bad. He has a really, really good leadership. I believe 65% to all Fantastic Four allies. So he can actually be very good. So the best characters in here that I would recommend are Mr. Fantastic and Human Torch. Invisible Woman is good for PvP, and she's not even really meta for PvP. So I built her more for Alliance Conquest, because with AC, you need a lot of PvP teams. You can't do it with just 3 characters. Those 3 characters might form a really good team, but once they're gone, your roster could be trash at that point. Thing is a good support for PvP or PvE, but he will not be your main damage dealer. Now we get to these two. Both of these epic quests, Galactic Imperative and Dark Reign, will require tier 3 materials. We're talking Titan Component Packs, TCP, Essence of Dimension, EOD. They will also require Titan Records, or books as a lot of us call them. So I do not recommend playing these until you can beat World Boss Ultimate 5 times a day. You need to be able to farm those resources, or these 2 missions or epic quests will be a massive pain. So keep that in mind. However, and bear with me a second, I'm just multitasking over here. Okay, sorry about that. So this one. This actually will help you to Tier 3 Starlord. The main character is Beta Ray Bill. Now, Beta Ray Bill is very good. Um, he is a great standalone character. He's great as, transcended. He was one of the first phenomenal transcended characters. Is he the best one currently? No. But I do think he is a very good one. He does not have a uniform. So this is technically free-to-play friendly. But again, you do need those resources to build him up. Starlord, you will actually tier 3 through this epic quest as well. And for him, it's actually at a discounted rate. So when we say discounted, your total investment into this epic quest would be 6 Titan records or books. I believe it's 6. Whereas a regular tier 3 costs 10. So there is that. Keep that in mind. So that can definitely be helpful for you. Starlord, with the uniform that you're looking at here on the screen, that is a really good leadership of 55% energy attack 55% to blast types for energy attack. So if you have a blast type that deals physical damage, War Machine, it can be one of those. Starlord does not help him as much. Just to kind of give you a better understanding. Now, beyond that, so Darkhawk is a very good free-to-play character. This one I think gives you Gamora bios. Yeah. You'll get Punisher bios, you'll get Nebula bios. Punisher with that uniform with Cosmic Ghost Rider is actually pretty good. He was actually probably the best free-to-play Universal villain until Captain Marvel just got her recent rework. But we're not talking about that right now. And he's still fun. Now, your semi-premium is Phyla-Vell. She's a very good support type. She does help with Universals specifically. She's a great candidate for a CTP of Insight, should you ever land one. And then for your Crystal Wall, Nova is the one that you unlock after paying 6,600 crystals. He's a good lead, he's a good support type, he's a good standalone character. When I was in Platinum Timeline Battle, sometimes I would run a team with Beta Ray Bill, Phyla-Vell, and Nova. More than once, Nova was the last man standing, and he actually won the whole battle for me. Now, I can't say that he would still do it now, and also he has put in some PvE work for me as well. So he is still good, and he may get something in the future. And then of course you have Gladiator. Unfortunately, Gladiator is not as good as I would like him to be. He does have a very good leadership, probably one of the best leaderships in the game. 55% increase to all allies for all attacks. So physical, elemental, energy does not matter. That is probably one of the best leaderships in the game. But he himself is just not going to carry you that far. I wish I could say more. Again, hopefully he'll get a rework in the future. But so your main good characters out of this, you will get a tier 3 Starlord. You will get Beta Ray Bill, who does not require crystals. And you'll get Darkhawk. So if you pay no crystals and you do nothing else, you'll at least get those 3 characters. And Beta Ray Bill, he was one of my first characters that from day one I built him up right, with the ISO set and all that stuff. I've shown you guys the gear that I have on him, which I got really lucky with that, but love it. He was one of the first characters that I could solo GBR with. He was one of my first World Boss Legend clears. He is an amazing character. So now I'm a little biased here, as you can tell. And lastly, the Dark Avengers, which this is one that I wanted for a long time because the hero to villain ratio sucked. It is much better now. But So you'll build up a tier 3 sentry through this epic quest who is amazing in PvP. He can do some PvE work for you, but his kit is mostly PvE. As of right now, he's probably still the best PvP character in the game. Beyond that, so you will get to farm Dakin, who is not bad, but again, he's a semi-premium, and I mentioned in an earlier video, his bios are not a 100% chance to drop. So you could run this several times. Like, I always do a clear 10 to get all of his bios. You might get 8, you might get 2. So I've had to run this mission like 50 times sometimes to get all of his bios. But he doesn't have a uniform, so technically he's free to play friendly. He's okay. He's not a great villain, but he's okay. He can clear Shadowland. Bullseye, with this uniform, is a good transcended speed villain, but you do need that uniform. That is a crystal cost. Scorpion is good. No uniform. He is free to play 100%. He's pretty decent. Mostly he is a Shadowland character, but he does at least have some use to him. Green Goblin, should you get the Iron Patriot uniform, he is an amazing lead and support for any of the Dark Avengers, but unfortunately he does not have Transcendence or Tier 3, so you cannot take him into World Boss Legend or DRX. But you can take him into GBR for Moonstone, and she will decimate with him at the lead. Speaking of Moonstone, so Ares is your semi-premium character. You can get him through shifter bios. It is a slow drip, but it is technically free. And Ares is not bad. I would say that he's a B+ character in, well, maybe not even B+, maybe just a solid B, but he's still decent. Moonstone is your crystal wall character. You do have to pay 6,600 crystals for her, but if you get her, she is phenomenal. I cannot say enough about her. I had a obelisk with a 140 proc on her initially, and she could still clear null. She could still clear World Boss Legend. I did swap her out, give her CTP of energy, and she does much better now. But my point being, even with an obelisk, she can go. So if you put up the 6,600 crystals, you can get her. Molecule Man, I have not actually built. He is still at 1 star right now. He is mostly PvE, so if that is not something you care about, don't worry about it. He does have a good leadership for PvE. I have come across some Molecule Mans who were pretty dangerous and kind of broke their foot off in my ass once or twice. So that being said, Molecule Man can be good, but he is expensive. As you can see here, you have to get Sentry to 70. You have to get Scorpion, Green Goblin up to tier 2. That part's not hard. You have to get Dakin to tier 2. That does take a little bit longer. Bullseye's tier 2. Free to play friendly. That's cool. Ares, semi-premium. That is a slow drip. That will take you some time. And then Moonstone, who is 6,600 crystals. Then you can start building Molecule Man. He's probably the most expensive character in the game when you take all of that into consideration. So you may want to hold, depending how you feel about it. Again, Sentry is good. He can do work in PvE and PvP. But if you are not farming World Boss Ultimate to get those tier 3 materials, you will not be able to complete this one. Guardians of the Galaxy or the Dark Avengers. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I think I've rambled enough for this. I do hope that this has given you some valuable information. Essentially, you are going to need crystals for basically any of these characters because you need uniforms for them. Except for Sentry and Beta Ray Bill, pretty much none of them is good without a uniform. In their cases, they don't have one. and they're still good characters. But as I said, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I hope this was helpful for you. I will be leaving my contact information in the description, as well as you can always hit me up in the comments. Um, if there's anything else that you would like to see, anything that maybe you're struggling with or anything like that, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, you guys take care, and I will see you with whatever I decide to make the next video about.